it. Anybody moves, anybody says anything, cut the boy's other eye out and feed it to his father, and then we'll start. You can breathe. You can blink. You can cry. Hell, you're all gonna be doing that. Look, Dad, taking it like a champ.
So, was the cliffhanger a mistake, and who got Lucille'd? Are you guys ready to dive into this?
Yeah, I say let's go.
All right. Well, Ronny, I feel like you have a lot to say on this
I
because you were
feel
like
you do too.
you were like, I'm.
And he's typing while he's talking. So come on, go for it.
I actually had to post a video I forgot about, so I
Oh,
needed to
that's
type
what
that.
you're doing. Normally
Yeah.
it's Justin that's typing while I'm talking.
I was like, "Look, they'll never know, is what I'm thinking. Well, fuck. All right. So, the cliffhanger, yes, it was bad. Period.
Bad or bad good?
Bad. Like, this
Okay,
is bad.
good.
I
Just
disagree.
making sure. Okay.
I will say, though, if I don't get this out, in this conversation, I will say 100%, because I'm such a huge fan of The Walking Dead, if the cliffhanger is good for the show, like ratings, let's just put that out there. If it's a positive for the show, then I'll support it 100%. But even having almost a week go by, I still think it was a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't see how you can spin it any other way that it was the wrong thing to do, and I don't see how. I'm a conspiracy theorist here, and for me, I feel like it was not up to the writer's decision whatsoever.
I don't think it was either.
I do not feel that Scott Gimple would have told the story this way. It just seems like such a mistake whenever you have this episode that, I mean, I've watched it 3 times and it's fucking good every time I watch it up until that last little bit, and even the more I watch it, the less it angers me. It doesn't really. After the first time, it didn't really anger me the second and third time at all.
Obviously, because you know what the answer is going to be. You don't know the answer.
Yeah, you don't know the answer, but it's just so weird to me to think that. Why would we want to come back on that scene at the beginning of next season, just like they did with the mid-season finale and premiere this season? They fucked that up. It was the editing on that, whatever they did, was terrible. Like, it just took you so out of the moment when you came back from the mid-season finale, which left you with mom, and then you come back and it's just like they're fucking walking around through Alexandria for 20 minutes.
And what happened with that? Did he just stop talking or what? They never answered that. They didn't even. It was as if they said, "Hey, we're gonna film this because it would make a good cliffhanger, but it messes up the continuity of the story. So let's just forget it happened when we start back up." And I'm afraid they're gonna do that with Negan. Yeah. I'm afraid that when they start back up in season 7. They're going to give us a brand new scene, but not a brand new scene totally.
No.
I feel like we're going to see new parts, because in season 6, it's all choppy. If you watch it, it is chopped up like a son of a bitch. He's Inny, Minnie, Maya, Mo, and he's not going in any types of order at all. It's random as shit. I feel like Negan's going to say more. I think there's going to be more dialogue, even though people were complaining he had too much dialogue. But I think there will be more dialogue, different dialogue. And I believe they'll drag a person out. In the season 6, it looks like he beats him right there.
Yeah.
Somebody we don't know is going to get dragged out.
Yeah, if they do that, if they drag him out, that's even going to be weirder to me, because it's like, okay, he didn't do that in the finale, and then if he does it then... Yeah, I think Kelly and I talked about this at some point. I don't even know if we posted this yet or not, or whatever we're going to do with it. But we kind of discussed that what we may get is that they may do the season 7 premiere from our group's perspective. So you'll hear Negan in the background of everything, but you won't see him as much. You'll just see the facial expressions from the people from our group, and that's kind of all you'll really see until like right at the very end where he's doing the eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and then I think it cuts to Negan, and then we see like the brutal head bashing. It's still weird to me to think that they filmed it for 15 hours with the entire cast out there just to really get in the moment.
and not have a conclusion.
Keep in mind, though, not only did they film it that scene, but they also filmed it with curses.
Yes.
That way they could put it on Blu-ray. So they're filming it twice, essentially, and they have all those different angles, and it's not just like you set up a camera, so they do have to work with the lighting. There's a whole bunch of delays when you're actually filming, so I can see that they did just film that, but yeah, it feels odd. And also, I don't know if you saw this on the interview, but none of the cast was there when Negan filmed his very last moment killing the character.
The camera bashing.
Yeah, that was just Negan alone who filmed that scene. So.
And how does that
who told you that?
That was that's official. That was in Scott Gimple's most recent interview. Scott Gimple
that makes it official. It doesn't make it official for me. That makes it official. Their official story that they're telling us right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as their official story, I just meant that this wasn't some, fan on Instagram telling me. I read it like in a supposed official.
Okay.
I don't know what they really filmed though.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think I either read that or I don't know. I guess I probably would have read it because I don't think he's actually came out in a video interview or anything and said that. And there was that leak that came out way back. I don't know if it was in December or whatever.
It was in December.
Yeah,
because I covered that.
Oh, okay, yeah. It showed exactly what you're talking about. It was just him by himself and bashing in something, but you could tell that there wasn't a human that he bashed in from what I could remember.
You mean he really didn't kill somebody?
I mean, he should have.
It was the same exact scene we got, and that's why I was so annoyed with AMC, because listen, if you look at this, has a huge leak like that ever leaked out? They give spoilers leak out all the time, and a day or two before the episode airs, the entire episode leaks out. So you get a lot of leaks. But listen, months before the biggest season finale in the history of the series, they leak the actual ending. The cliffhanger ending is leaked to us. I feel like AMC tested it. I feel like they leaked it on purpose. They tested the fan reaction, and they were like, okay, some fans are going to be pissed, but you know what? We can get away with this. And I think they ran with it. Because it doesn't make any sense that someone who is actually filming, who works for AMC in that close, tight-knit group, would take out their cell phone and record Negan when now we're hearing it was such a private shoot. It was only Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and it was the crew. So somebody recorded that on their phone, and somehow it leaked to us. I feel like they tested that with that leak.
It's definitely not a fan, because good God, we've been down there, Kelly and I, quite a few times while they're filming. You can't get close. I don't even know how these Spoiling the Dead people get these amazing shots sometimes.
Yeah, they have a lot of people, but I still get people that'll message me being like, oh, I know so-and-so who's a walker or a savior, and those motherfuckers, they
spread it all.
Yeah, they are just like yabba jab, because I have to constantly tell people, like, I'm not the person to bring those to. I hate spoilers. I don't cover them because not only, does it ruin the experience knowing for a fact what happens, but if I get spoilers, I can't do a prediction.
Exactly.
What kind of douchebag would I be?
Exactly.
If I
You're
know
like,
what's gonna happen.
I think it's going to be a cliffhanger. I'm almost totally positive it's going to be a cliffhanger.
That.
Yes. It's a cliffhanger.
I am Nostradamus, bitches.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say, I was just checking IMDb, and this was the lowest rated episode out of any episode in the entire series. They rated it a 5.7.
Oh man.
Yeah,
that's just
It's the
insane to me.
cliffhanger.
well, people are just pissed.
Is the cliffhanger.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking 9s and anyway.
I would
so
still give the episode.
you gave it a 10, if I recall.
Yeah, well,
so
that was in the moment, and I was really tense still, even though
Yes,
nothing happened at the
it
end.
was
But
it was a lot of adrenaline.
yeah, lots of adrenaline.
Yeah.
The one thing that I will say to me is the most egregious when it comes to this cliffhanger is the whole fact that they're spinning it to say that was the end of this story.
Yeah, don't even get me started with that shit.
And the fact that the new story begins. Well, if that's the case, then we should not see this Negan scene again to
Right.
open the season 7. Like, it just shouldn't exist. It should move. It should do the time jump thing that we've seen in the past. Even though, do I want that? I don't know yet. I don't know if I want that. But to say that it's not some kind of manipulation to me is incorrect, because otherwise you wouldn't show it again at the beginning of season 7. So, which on Netflix, it's gonna be fantastic. whenever
Exactly.
whenever you binge watch the
yeah.
shit of this, it's gonna be like the greatest thing ever. The editing will still screw up for the mid-season finale and premiere. That'll still be wonky even when you go back and watch them all in a row. But I don't know. So,
Well, that's what I don't like with their excuse even, because it's saying, well, what you had said, but they went on to say showing the death would take away from Negan's introduction. It would take away from the ending of Rick's story, because everybody would be focused on the death. Well, guess what? Everybody is focused on the death because
Right.
you didn't show it.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't
if
make.
you cheated, and I don't mean that in just a like a horrible way, like, oh God, I needed to see somebody die, but I was ready to mourn. I had worked up the tears.
they were ready to flow.
They were. I mean, I was like all, and then it didn't happen. So
Did any tears come out at all? Even though we didn't see anything, I'm just curious because they did do such a fantastic job to me of building up that tension.
okay, so I might have cried a little still.
Even when you saw your main man Rick, I mean
Okay, that was kind of a cold shower.
yeah, he deserves to me some kind of nods or something for
He is
his
amazing.
work, especially as I went back today and watched season 2 and season 3. The dude has gotten exceptionally better. I mean, holy cow, it's such a transformation going back. I mean, even all of them have gotten better. I mean, even Melissa McBride has just
Yes.
it's
Mhm.
insane to go back and watch those old episodes, and you're just like, these are the same people in these roles, like
Yeah.
how they've adapted and everything. So yeah, it's pretty damn phenomenal.
Just sitting there, the idea that that they were there for a 15-hour shoot, whether
Yeah.
if it was over a couple of nights, yes, but being snotted up like that, and for me, I feel like his snot and his sweat is the genuine thing. I think he's method. That's real snot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him go crazy in like little quick
Yeah.
gifs and stuff where
Uh-huh.
he's like psyching himself up.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
hmm
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall and just
Oh,
watch
my
that
God.
being filmed, because I'm sure he was a treat to watch. I wonder, because I mean, I don't know. I haven't read a lot about Jeffrey Dean Morgan in the sense of how he gets into a character or anything, but we've read some stuff about Andrew Lincoln, and so we know he's crazy. I wonder if Jeffrey Dean Morgan knew about that, because that's got to be a very crazy thing to see if that's one of your first things that you film.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is just this dude going batshit crazy off to the side while
Yeah.
there's no cameras that are filming. So
Right.
yeah, that would be very.
I hope, but when the series is completely over and we get that extra special DVD set, that we
Yeah.
get more of the filming. I mean, those are my favorite things to watch. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to see his method. I want to see how he does that. The rest of them I'd like to see them too.
You're like, those
but
those other people getting ready, maybe
those
I'll watch
other
them.
people. I think there's some other people that are on the show.
Yeah.
But he's so great. He brings it every time.
So do we have anything positive to say about the cliffhanger ending? Like, is there anything that you guys can think of that you're like, this works because of this?
Well, I mean, I can understand the people who like it. I don't hate it to a point where I completely, think it ruined the series. Or I do believe there's fans out there who they're like, man, this is fine. They're
trying to fire Scott Gimple, for God's sakes. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
People are
That's
stupid.
too much.
I'm sorry. That's just dumb. And especially when you think about the fact that I think as a group here, we can agree that it wasn't his choice.
I don't believe it. It doesn't feel like it fits his style. It was an odd choice. It was just, I don't know. It's like,
he's such a fan of the comic book to me that, I mean, he knows how people have waited for this. I feel like he does too many things according to the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he would want to deliver this to those fans.
I will say that one of our listeners, Elizabeth, she wrote and said this. She even mentioned that it was hard to decipher what she said because I think she did this with talk to text or something. But she said, considering Rick's arrogance getting them into that trap of the saviors, what if the producers of the show have fallen into that same trap of arrogance and thought that this ending would be a great cliffhanger?
It's
a burn right there.
Yeah, that is. That's excellent.
The only thing I can think of is they did do a lot of new things this season. Season 6 was definitely an experimental season. The way that they shot the first, 10 episodes of the season, not the way they shot it, but the way that the story unfolded, that it was over the course of 2 days, and it was, we were seeing it from different perspectives and everything. It was very interesting. Some people, it turned them off, but it was new. I mean, it was something they hadn't done before. The fact that they did a cliffhanger mid-season finale, that was new as well, right? This is the first time we've ever done this before, where we just basically cut a scene and then it's just over.
Yeah, it's mid-scene. That's what makes it so jarring, and that's why the cliffhanger of the last cliffhanger I really, really enjoyed for a cliffhanger. However, where we picked up on episode 9, it was jarring because again, the continuity felt off. It felt like they said, well, you know what, and here's the thing, I know it's a zombie show, but I love the realism in the show. I love how they don't have people who can jump 50 feet on top of a roof. This isn't a superhero show. There's realism. This shit is taking place in the real world. There's just zombies. But when you have a scene that the continuity it doesn't match because you needed a cliffhanger, that's where I feel like when you binge the season finale of season 6 and the premiere of season 7, if they play around with the scene and give us something new that's not all choppy. Let's say he doesn't point to Daryl and call him the tiger. He did it in season 6, and I know that's small, but that would mean that in season 6 when we're watching it, he points to Daryl and calls him the tiger. In season 7, he points to Rosita and calls her the tiger. That means they randomly threw dialogue in with scenes to confuse us on purpose, and it's jarring, especially if you binge it or follow closely with the thing. And that's one little pet peeve I have, that I don't like it. I don't like it at all, because
I don't like being manipulated.
It's like they filmed a fake scene. Like Sammy. Did Sammy really say mom? Did he? Fucking did he?
I don't know. I've got to ask you this though. You said you really, really enjoyed the way that they ended episode 15 with Daryl getting shot, and then the screen went bloody, and then it was over with. So in hindsight, do you still enjoy that episode? You still enjoy that?
I love the cliffhanger for 15. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because this is something I talked about in one of my videos, where you have good cliffhangers and you have bad cliffhangers. You see 15's cliffhanger, it wasn't building on the momentum of Daryl getting shot. It wasn't building up. Like, we didn't know. With Negan, we know. So, oh my God, somebody's getting beat. You know, you're building that momentum. So when you're watching a Negan scene, your body's ready to explode. You got the chills. Maybe, you know, you're hot. You're going nuts. You're going to pop out of your skin. But for Daryl, it was like, okay, Daryl, don't get caught. Oh, that fucker's behind you. Holy shit, he just shot him. You know, it's just a different type of cliffhanger, and I think it worked beautifully. And I didn't believe he died. I didn't think they were trying to trick us. They clearly show him get shot in the shoulder, and then blood goes on the camera, which I don't like blood on the camera, but I feel like it worked in this cliffhanger because the blood on the camera was a fade to black, so to speak, after.
Yeah.
It was a transition. But picking up with 16, there was no interruptions. There was no disturbing the continuity. When we picked up with 16, we see the blurry point of view. Maybe it's Daryl. Who cares if it's not him? Maybe it's Glenn or Michonne. But later we see him being drug out of a van, and he's bleeding. He's sick. He looks weak. He lost blood. I think it fits beautifully because, again, they don't disrupt the continuity, and the cliffhanger wasn't building to that showdown. You know what I mean? It was like a cat and mouse. We weren't expecting it, so it fit a lot better.